This isn't a jungle, nor an African plain. You're in Arkansas, and this is Turpentine Creek. Up in the far corner of northwest Arkansas, right outside a town called Eureka Springs, Turpentine Creek, a wildlife refuge for big cats and other exotic animals, exists. With over 450 acres to build on, Turpentine Creek carries out their mission of providing a place of safety and security for over 100 cats and other animals such as bears and monkeys. But like every story, it started small, in 1978 with one lion cub named Bum.
Bum actually came from a car dealer friend of my dad's that went to repossess a car out of Little Rock, Arkansas, and their car wasn't there, but there was a little baby lion cub tied to a cinder block, and there was nobody home. So he left his business card in the door, took the baby lion to work out whatever they owed on the car.
And Tanya's father, Donald Jackson, decided he would take care of the lion cub.
My dad, Mom traded 5 motorcycles and a motorcycle trailer for the first lion cub. He lived in Dallas, and he had to walk through the zoo every day to get to school. And about half the time he didn't go to school, he just ended up staying at the zoo. So he was an animal lover from way back, and still is a big animal lover. He decided he was going to do everything he could to learn how to take care of big cats, and he was able to bring that cat around and save its life.
Bum would live for over 20 years with the Jacksons, moving with them from Hughes Springs, Texas, and then to Hope, Arkansas, and eventually Eureka Springs. Gradually, the Jacksons began acquiring more big cats, saving them from situations that would most likely end with the cat being euthanized. The major event that really got the refuge rolling was when a breeder and black market dealer showed up on the Jacksons' doorstep with 38 big cats crammed into 2 cattle trailers. She was on the run from the law in Texas and desperately needed to find a home for the cats. A friend of the Jackson family lived on a 500-acre ranch in Eureka Springs and offered it as a temporary refuge. It soon became permanent. It was evident by incoming phone calls from all over the country from big cat pet owners looking for a home for their cat that someone needed to start a refuge.
And that's when we formed Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge, was in May of 1992.
Since that day, Turpentine Creek has been a refuge for abused and abandoned big cats. The refuge is run by a small full-time staff, an internship program, and is funded by donations to the nonprofit organization.
Well, our mission has always been just to save any animal out there that is in distress and facing euthanization. You know, most of the animals here, they're endangered species, and if it wasn't for the refuge, these animals would be put to sleep.
Right now, the United States Humane Society estimates there's between 10 and 20,000 big cats in this country, and only 15% of that is in zoos or sanctuaries like ours. So it leaves just an enormous amount of animals that are out there, not including primates, bears, things like that. And so what we've done is what we're trying to do for all the animals is build on this property. There's 450 acres to build on.
The refuge is currently split into 2 areas, the compound and the habitats. The compound mainly consists of cages, where most of the animals are located. The habitats are much larger with room to run and play. The dream and vision is to eventually have a habitat for every animal here at Turpentine.
But this is what we want for all of them. I mean, to come here, see the animals and playing in a pool or wrestling or, you know, giving them that piece of freedom that they would never have had otherwise unless they were brought here. A good portion of the animals would have been euthanized. So I think that we're really making a difference in these animals' lives and giving them, letting them be a bear, letting them be a tiger, be a lion for just that little bit that they can each day.
Reaching this goal is no easy task, but the day-to-day challenges are almost enough on their own.
Trying to get the amount of work done that needs to be done each day is always a challenge, because even though there are 12 interns and there's an amount of staff, there's a lot to take care of. Right now we have 113 cats. We also have the bears. And so it's always challenging making sure that each one of them is taken care of.
Because of Turpentine Creek's unique mission and cause, it provides a fantastic opportunity for students all around the country, an internship program with hands-on experience. Many students who want to be biologists or zookeepers later on in life find it hard to get good opportunities to work with animals, and Turpentine Creek fills that niche.
Actually, we started getting interns because we couldn't rely on volunteers. We came up with this idea that we would bring in interns from all over the country, mostly biologists, zoologists, that somebody that really cared about the animals and just wasn't just looking for a place to stay. It grew into a great process. You know, we started out with 3 interns originally, and we started soliciting all the universities across the country. You know, we'd send out 2,200 letters to all these different universities. This last go around, we got in over 130 applicants, and we can take 12 of those applicants and we house them here at the Refuge. It's about a 6.5-month program now.
Well, I was a biology major. I started being a biology major with hopes to go on to veterinary school, not knowing how much schooling that actually entailed. And I thought this might be a nice alternative to see, well, if I actually enjoy working with animals, because I'd never worked with animals beforehand.
I think it's just all of my life I've liked animals, and most of the time the situation is, you know, these animals are put into captivity or they're born in captivity, so, and they can't be reintroduced into the wild, so I want to try to make their experience, you know, in captivity as enjoyable for them as possible.
And so when I came in, I was like, wow, this place is pretty big. I'm never gonna learn all these animals' names. How did everybody do this? And I didn't think that you would actually be this close to animals, even from a guest's point of view or tourist point of view. You know, they come out and they're right there. They're 3 feet in front of you, which is really amazing. I mean, you go to zoos around the country and you barely get to see a tiger or a lion because they're hiding or they're far away. But here they're right there. So I thought that was pretty cool. And you go out and see the habitat area, and that was amazing to see what the goal of this refuge really is and how it was once a dream and how it's becoming a reality. I was really impressed by that. And that everything here is for the cats. I was really impressed by that too.
The internship works out great. If you're going into the biology or zoology field, want to go on to work at a zoo, go to vet school, things like that, you need to have experience.
If somebody puts an application in and it says that they worked at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge for an internship of 6.5 months, if they do 2 or 3 in a row, then they're almost guaranteed a job. So it's really been a great partnership. You know, they also become ambassadors once they leave us and go out into the world. They become ambassadors and travel all over the country and tell their experiences of working here at this wildlife refuge in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. So it's kind of a neat process of watching them grow.
Through all this hard work and learning the stories of each of the cats, the interns come to know and understand the mission of Turpentine Creek and how important it is to share it.
Our point is to try to spread the word that big cats do not make very good pets. They may be cute and cuddly when they're little, but they will grow up to be massive meat eaters. And it's just really hard to provide everything that they need.
I don't think that that's definitely not what people are thinking about and how they're going to manage that, how they're going to give that animal the proper diet, afford that, and how they're going to keep themselves safe and their family. I mean, they're a wild animal and you can't take the wild out of them. So a variety of reasons, and I think it's just that because there aren't enough laws regulating it in this country, it's too easy for a person to acquire one of these animals.
In fact, over 30 states require little to no licensing for exotic pet ownership, Arkansas being one of them. 7 states prohibit some but allow others, and only 12 states actually prohibit the private possession of at least large cats, wolves, bears, dangerous reptiles, and certain primates.
Well, I think it falls back to your freedoms of being an American. You know, that's what a lot of people will tell me. You know, it's my right to own whatever I want. You know, I'm an American, and that's always a big issue.
We have a lion that was rescued from Brody that somebody bought at an animal auction. I mean, it's that that little bit of, you know, if you went to an auction and saw a lion for $175, I mean, that's cheaper than, I think, an iPhone these days, and walk out of there with a lion because nobody's stopping you. It's too easy for people to acquire them and not think about the future and the consequences that come along with it.
You know, it's not like everybody's a horrible owner, just like every parent's not a great parent or a bad parent, but that's the kind of way it is with big cats too, is there's good owners and there's bad owners, and unfortunately we see a little bit of it all at the refuge here.
Every animal at Turpentine Creek has a story. In front of each habitat and cage, there is a plaque with their name and how they came to be at Turpentine Creek. Some are good stories. An older couple who took care of this bobcat couldn't do so anymore. On the other hand, Coco was made to sit in a large chair so that people could take pictures with it. Other tigers and lions were left in horrible conditions, barely surviving.
Her name is Sheba. Sheba's a 9-year-old cougar, and she's been here about 4 years. She had several previous owners before she came here to Turpentine Creek. She has a kind of unfortunate story. Like a lot of our cats here, she was owned as a household pet, and then they realized that didn't work out too well. Her second owner actually abused her quite badly. It was a very young owner. They shot BB guns and pellets at her. They didn't know how to properly feed her, so she was very malnourished.
While cleaning cages and providing food are the most important tasks the staff handles each day, they do try to provide a little bit of fun for the guests and, of course, for the cats themselves.
What we're doing here is we're making enrichment for the cats. And what the enrichment is, it keeps them basically in captivity from getting bored, gives them something to do out of the ordinary.
Sort of a mental exercise session for them.
Any type of enrichment that we could do, it could be as simple as taking a tree from another habitat and putting it in there, a tree branch. And that's now is a different smell and a different taste that they're not used to. Maybe another cat, you know, urinated on that branch and now they have a new smell, which they'll go after and rub up on, and stinky face too, which we'll talk about in a minute. So stinky face is the scientific term is called phlegming. And basically what that is their Jacobson organ, so they have 2 holes on the roof of their mouth. And it's just a better way for them to smell it. So they'll raise their lips above their front teeth and open their mouth. We'll make fake animals out of paper mache and boxes, and basically what we'll do with that is make the box into, well, what we think is the shape of possibly a hippopotamus or an elephant or a giraffe, and they are very boxy, but we end up painting them.
You can tuck other, fur, other scent enrichment, hay, anything that the cats or other animals are going to find interesting. They have to dig at it, something for them to do. It's a big puzzle adventure for them.
Making enrichment, cleaning cages, and feeding the cats all cost money. And being nonprofit, Turpentine Creek has other ways of supporting itself. Every day, starting at 1 o'clock, the interns give tours of the compound and habitats. Visitors buy a ticket and then wander the compound looking at each of the animals, able to ask questions of the interns and staff.
And then the guided tour allows you to go around our habitat loop, and that's with that's with a tour guide, which would be an intern such as myself. And that's a half-mile, 40-minute walking tour, which takes you around our habitat loop, which we have about 25 habitats out there, something like that. And basically what that is, it's a much more natural enclosure for the animals to be in. So right now we have about 70 cats out into our habitats, and that is our goal, to get them all from the compound out into a habitat.
We have so many goals and aspirations of what this refuge can be and will grow into. And the fundraising side of it has been the most difficult part of what we do, I think. We're excellent at transferring animals and moving animals and training people, but we do need that large donor to come and step forward and show confidence in what we're doing so we can expand because there's animals waiting, you know, waiting for us to save their lives. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to turn them away.
These animals don't have a voice, and so we, the people, have to be that voice for them. And just help educate and help and save the cats and do whatever you can to, every little bit counts and adds up.
You know, when we started the Refuge in '92, I thought, well, I'll devote 10 years of my life to this project, and, you know, we should have all 459 acres developed and everything, and then maybe I could go on to be a consultant at other places across the country. That's kind of how I looked at it. And, you know, in May, it'll be 20 years we've been doing this, and we've just barely scratched the surface.
Even though we make sacrifices, working here with these animals, it's absolutely the most rewarding job I've ever had. Over the years that I've been here, seeing the animals come in distrusting, all different circumstances, and watch them gain our trust and get to enjoy the rest of their life is just an amazing experience and amazing to see just coming here.
You are a good girl.
Today, the public can visit the Refuge on just about any day of the year. In addition to that, the staff and interns have a YouTube channel where they show the progress of new habitats, cats of the week, and other news about the Refuge. With 20 years under their belt, Turpentine Creek continues to grow and help abused and neglected exotic animals. And even with all the new habitats, cats, and other animals, their message remains the same.
Choose your pets wisely. That's what I would say. Big cats don't make good pets. Choose your pets very wisely.
He's like, oh.